we play by this rule, and it comes into play every morning when we're picking breakfast, but it's 2v1 always.
Right.
Whatever 2 goes, it's
Majority rules.
Majority rules. Yeah.
Marketing is like steroids. Okay, you can do things in business to grow your business without marketing per se, right? Yeah. But you're still marketing. What you're doing is you're doing it at the slowest possible rate.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Lat Chat. Today, the DNM Digital founders are here to talk to us about all things marketing. They're not just your typical marketing agency, they're absolute specialists with over 21 years of experience combined, bringing the best of SEO, digital, paid ads, and all things marketing strategy. They're your partners for growth who will help you drive your business into the future. From the very nice streets of Greenacre and the western suburbs of Sydney, we've brought them in here and they're now on a national stage. In a very short time, I've seen them grow this agency. Boys, pleasure having you on the podcast. How are you today?
Very good, man. Thank you for the intro.
Absolutely.
I was just telling you, I feel like, we're jumping into a fight in the UFC.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to headbutt the mic and go.
Very good. Well, it's a good thing you said that because we have an octagon set up here. John, co-founder of Latitude Accountants.
Thanks for having me on again, Jacob. When you said Greenacre, I didn't know we interviewed drug dealers. But no, it's all good. These guys are marketing
My
guys.
mum says I'm a good boy, so I honestly think I am a good boy.
I'm only joking, bro. I grew up in Greenacre as well, so,
Did you?
no disrespect to the area, 100%.
We're all born
Gosling
there.
Street.
Oh, that's not far. Okay.
Yeah. So Roberts Park was the hangout. Yeah. So whenever they weren't burning cars out there and that, we were playing footy, running laps.
This
It's a
is
good
the.
area to grow
I'm
up
glad we have the top 20% of Greenacre here. No, it's a great area. We love everyone from there, and we love the Western Sydney suburbs. All right, boys.
Let's go.
I'll start you off with share a bit about your journey. Obviously, as you know, I've seen your journey grow very, very quickly.
Yep.
Talk to me about why you started your agency, what you guys specialize in, your first hire or two, and sort of where you are today.
Done. Do you want to kick off? And I'll get into the.
You want to talk personally, like our personal journeys or the business journey?
Let's go business journey. Let's go business journey.
Done.
Yeah, cool. I think it was funny. The three of us worked on similar agencies, worked at similar agencies, and essentially we just saw things could be done a little bit differently. And I'll never forget, one day we sat down at a cafe and we said, if we were to do an agency together, what are things that are non-negotiables? And we sort of had these lists, but everyone done it independently. And Daniel was a bit skeptical of me at the start and he didn't want me on board. But when we actually went through these lists, it was actually pretty much word for word. Like we all had the exact same answers. So it was like a line from the get-go. We all knew what we wanted and it was like, cool, let's give it a shot. And yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah, and it's sort of, it all came to the exact same saying, which we still stick to and is our main motto, and how we train our staff, how we maintain a specific, product and service. And it was all the same. It's a service that we would maintain and our mothers would invest in. So we're very, very family orientated and naturally European,
For sure.
Middle Eastern background.
Sure.
Our mothers are everything to us.
100%.
And we felt like there was a lot of agencies out there that would sell their mothers to get business whilst us, we wanted to do the opposite. We wanted to put a service out there that we'd actually be confident that our mothers would invest in.
100%. That's great. That's great.
That's really good.
No, that's excellent. Now, what I'm curious about with you guys as well, there's three of you in the business, right?
Yep.
I think you all bring something very different to the table. But how have you guys managed to make the relationship grow and not get in each other's way and make sure that you're executing together cooperatively?
You know what? It's funny. We're talking about it this morning.
Yeah.
The three of us have never had a single argument.
There you go.
Yeah.
We disagree 100%, but we play by this rule and it comes into play every morning when we're picking breakfast, but it's 2v1 always.
Alright.
Whatever 2 goes, it's
Majority rules?
Majority rules.
Yeah. Okay. Because I noticed today, Daniel is on the bench, 18th man. So he didn't make the cut for the podcast. So was it 2v1, you two versus him? He was off.
So it comes down to our strengths as well. Like Daniel would be awesome on the podcast as well, but being a bit more overarching, and Daniel was very much the SEO side of the business. it was a bit more fitting to have Joseph, myself on.
Yeah.
But
Someone
if
needs
this
to
was
be. Someone needs to do the talking, and someone needs to get the results. Daniel's the results guy.
Daniel's a silent
Daniel's a
assassin,
silent
by the way.
assassin, and Daniel, if this was an SEO podcast, he'd be on there, and I'd
Yeah.
be solo.
Yeah, I would not be on that one.
But yeah, no, and it comes down to our strengths. Yeah, like we all definitely have our own strengths and also have our own common strengths too, which helps.
But you said 2v1, right? Like,
Yeah.
do you guys have decisions? This is interesting because a lot of people who listen and we're all about business.
Yep.
And there's partnerships are a big part of business. Do you have a lot of decisions which are not unanimous?
yeah.
So you guys are having a 2-to-1 split on some big
Yeah.
decisions.
Yeah, and majority of the time though, we let the one very much give their point. You know what I mean, and put everything out there. And sometimes you will find that there could be a shift from the 2-to-1 to the other side, or even 3 to the other side. And I feel like what this allows is to have different perceptions on things, and it makes us make decisions very, very quickly as well. I feel like where a lot of businesses do go wrong is they dwell on things for way too long, and therefore their decisions can alter way too many times, whilst we're quite quick. We go, okay, everyone put their thoughts on the table, and let's go with the most logical and 2v1 scenario. Yeah.
And you know what's funny? Sometimes when you have a decision, you're emotionally tied into it. So a situation will happen. You've got to make a decision quick. I might think one way. It's like, let's go for a quick coffee, quick walk.
Yeah.
Get out of the environment. Get out of the stressed sort of location. Go for a walk. And when Matt says something, Daniel says something, it's like, all right, I actually agree with him a little more now. Done. I get it. Let's do it.
100%.
Back in the office, that's the plan moving forward. That's what we've decided on.
So if the listeners are going to get some value out of this, any big decisions, get together, share your thoughts, get a vote.
Get out of the office, but don't make the decision in the office. Get out, go for a walk, have a breather.
100%.
And once you make that decision, don't dwell on it. Do it.
100%.
Yeah.
Assess what happens after it. If it needs to get changed again, change it.
Yeah, three's a good number, obviously, because you have the odd, and you've always got one swing voter. John, it was 2 for a long time.
It's actually interesting dynamic you say that. So Tufik and I started our business, long time ago, and then Jacob came on more recently. So when you actually have 2 partners, there's no such thing as a swing vote. It's everything is effectively unanimous, and one person just has to say, okay, I'm going to just run with you, your idea on this. I don't think that's going to work, but let's try it out. Yeah. And the worst thing is if you get that analysis paralysis where you don't actually try something. Correct. You just have to try something. You just have to say, okay, let's just try it your way this time. We'll blow 10 grand on that stupid ad campaign, doesn't work. And then next time we won't do the billboards or whatever it is, you know what I mean?
As long as you learn from it.
As long as you learn from it, and then you don't hold the grudge, because you don't want to be in business with the guy that comes back and says, oh, you're an idiot, bro. I told you it was a waste of money. That's how stupid you are, you know what I mean? So you have to be forgiving, and it's a marriage. And then now, obviously, we're shifting dynamics. We're getting, more client directors. Jacob came on board, and then you got to get that spirit of collaboration going. Yep. But I think the interesting thing is how I think decisions are not as important as how quick you can make decisions. Because the more decisions you can make, the faster you can make them, the quicker you can learn. So it's not whether you do this or that. It's how quickly can you trial that, see if it was good, and move on to the next thing.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, like, the decisions we make, if it ever doesn't go to plan, like, we laugh it off a little bit to an extent. It's like,
you have to.
Oh, bro, Matt, like, that $5 grand would have been used to, breakfast and coffees for the whole team for the next 24 months, bro. Good one. So we have a laugh about it, but we never make the same mistake twice.
Who's the guy who's more willing? Because everyone's got that guy. There's the guy who's willing to throw money in the bin, and then there's the guy who's more conservative. What's the dynamic in your business?
Mr. Conservative.
Yeah,
Mr. Conservative.
He's off camera, but we're pointing to the third
18th man doesn't like to shout drinks, is what you're telling me.
It's actually in order, by the way. Most aggressive, moderate, least.
Ask Daniel about the dumplings bill that we topped up yesterday.
That was
and how
my
much
fault.
leftovers we had because of Matt's over ordering.
That was my fault. I was ordering for 10 of me, not the rest. Not thinking that our staff don't have the same appetite as myself.
You do,
So that was my bad.
We had 10 takeaway containers.
Look, you know what? Going back to, we got to build the business our mothers will be proud of. Your mother will be proud of that. So we're all good there.
She always said you will always rather over-order than under-order.
100%. No, very good. And obviously, one more thing, a practical shareholders agreement. Would we agree that that's important? Did you like the process of going through the shareholders agreement? and getting something in writing? Talk
Can
to
I
us
say
about
something
that.
to you?
Yeah, of course.
I think we're all the exact same. Like, don't get me wrong, we've signed that shareholders agreement, but like our word means our word. Like, if I shake Daniel's hand and say that's going to be done by Friday, it's going to be done by Friday. And I think we all have I look at Daniel because I appreciate him, but we all have a very high level of respect for each other.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where
The thing with the shareholders agreement is even if it's like effectually useless, right? Let's say no one's ever going to sue anyone, or you don't have the bankroll, or you're not invested in going through a litigation process. At least the shareholder agreement gives you a reference point.
Correct.
It's something. It's like, hey, remember when we sat down and we said, what happens if someone wants to sell? Then we offer the shares to each other first, X, Y, Z. It's a reference point, and it's still worth the process.
100%.
Even if you're a man of your word, woman of your word, whatever, have the reference point, and then you can refer back to it.
I found that there were scenarios in there as well that you would never even think of. One, either because it's too morbid or depressing, of course, as well. But it's funny, like actually talking about it and understanding what needed to happen in those certain situations. It's vital, because if it did get to it and we didn't have that in place,
What do you do?
like, you know what I mean? What do you do? But anyways, it was definitely a vital thing. And
Good.
But I think I think we're pretty blessed. Like, we all get along. We're all very easygoing. We understand the goal at hand. We're all working towards the same thing. But I do see where shareholders agreements could definitely come.
How old are you guys?
27.
All of you?
No, I'm 27.
29.
29. Okay,
And
yeah.
Daniel's 29 as well.
That's perfect time to sort of launch into the world, because you learn a few lessons. You still know, nowhere near as much as you will when you're 40 or 50. But when it comes to a business perspective and the craft, you've learned a lot. But you got the energy of youth to force through. I feel like that second half of your 20s is like a power phase, because you're not useless as you were 18. Yeah. But you've picked up, but you still got the energy of a young person.
And you're still naive enough to make the decisions that sometimes you
have to make.
I think as well, you're also not as financially when I say financially restricted, I mean from like, you don't probably have, it's not to say that, you don't have as many, I guess, attachments to you
for sure
that you need to ensure that you're bringing in a certain amount to make your life.
Yeah, attachments to you. By that you mean kids with expensive school fees.
Kids, expensive school fees, or a home loan that you need to pay off, or else you have nowhere to live. And
100%,
you know what I mean? Like when we did get into this initially, there was a lot less that was relying on us.
100%.
It's changing as we get older, 100%. But that was definitely a big plus too.
100%. One of the key markers I always think in someone's business journey is hiring your first few employees, building team culture, building a team to help execute. Talk to us about, how did you know when to first hire?
Yep.
And what was that like? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so our first hire was in the paid media team. So we hired our current head of paid media, Luke. It was vital because we had our own strengths. So when we first started, we had Daniel doing the SEO, me doing the account management, Joey selling, and then we needed to make sure we had someone that could do the paid media side of things. So the Google ads, Meta ads, TikTok ads, all that side of things. That was our first hire because we pretty much needed it. We were bringing in clients that wanted to dip their toes in that side of digital marketing, and it's a necessity to do as well. Like we're massive on paid media. And then the next hire after that was our head of dev, who's still our head of dev, called AJ. We realized how necessary it was having someone in Australia that was doing the development for our clients. Why? Because one, you have a bit more control over it, the actual quality of that product. And I feel like a lot of Siri's listening to me. I feel like a lot of agencies don't value that part of that. They think it's the most easiest thing to offshore and put somewhere else, but they don't realize how important it is until one of their clients' websites go down from your mistake, from an offshore resource. So we very much quickly, from our past, realized how important it was to have someone here that could do the heavy lifting of that component. And we've never looked back from that.
100%.
And it's we've grown the teams from that. So we're the 5 heads of departments that we have.
How big is the team now?
We've got 13 in Sydney.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Talk to us about the structure. So you got heads of departments, and then you've got sort of teams built under them, and that's sort of the core leadership team.
Yep.
You
Correct.
obviously strategize and have the meetings together and whatnot. That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, something interesting I find with you guys, there's 3 of you involved in the business. So getting your accounting and tax structure was a big part of it, and each of you are a little bit different in terms of, when 3 people come together, you're not just seeing the structure of the business itself, you're also seeing 3 personal lives that you have to, make sure you balance and deal with. Why don't you talk to us about, how you make financial decisions in the business, how you make, okay, this is how we're going to structure the business. This is how much we're going to pull out. This is how much we're going to invest into advertising and all that sort of stuff.
No, it's interesting. I think one of the biggest things that's helped us is working with you guys, and it's not to say
This is the plug.
this is the plug. Yeah. Having to be fair, working.
Organise the brown paper bag.
Our boys,
I'll say that again. We agree. Use Latitude accountants.
We'll get into
The
that.
7 security guards at the door can now stand down because they've given us the. You're safe to leave.
Open the car park.
Look, the biggest thing for us is understand your numbers and trust someone who can give you it in simple terms. Like for us, I can look at this balance sheet and I still wig out me and Daniel probably 30 times a month, and it's like, oh my God, do we call Jacob? No, leave it. Give it another few days, it'll settle itself. But if you can't understand your numbers, have someone explain it to you in a way that you can and trust it and make decisions off the back of that. But one thing for us is sell.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, if
The antidote to every problem is more sales and more money in the
that's
front
how I
door.
look at it. If we've got a problem and Daniel says we need to hire, all right, let me go back do my thing. Let me go sell.
Yeah.
How can we get more money through the door? And then it solves itself.
Yeah.
There's another part to that: sell, but also retain. I think a lot of people, and again, Joey's the sales guy here, and I'm working on product.
Yeah.
So and so is Daniel. Joey's pure role and job is to bring in more, and Daniel and myself's pure role is to retain it. That's where I think a lot of businesses go wrong. They're good at one component, but not good at the other, and vice versa. Another one as well is, and again, I'm talking about you boys in particular, I feel like ego comes into it quite a bit, where business owners think they know everything. We're the first ones to say that we don't know something, and we'll get an expert in to help us with that. So when it comes to finances, bringing in, the experts to help us make these decisions is vital. Or else, like you said, if you're not making quick decisions, how much are you actually going to grow?
They've got to be quick and they've got to be informed. And
Correct.
if you're making decisions off numbers that don't understand,
Yeah.
then how are you going to make effective decisions to grow your business? You put yourself into a cash flow bind, you end up with tax debt, you end up in liquidation effectively.
That's it.
So I like what you're saying about that. Yeah. And then I think it's the vice versa for us is, marketing. We obviously use you guys to help us with a lot of our digital stuff, and we've got, coming from a place of knowing absolutely nothing. It's too many business owners get caught up in this problem. It's that they think they have to wear all the hats and do everything themselves and no outside help. The smarter business operators stick to what they're good at, specialize in it, do it really well, and then get the help they need. And they're not afraid to spend money. Sorry, Daniel, you have to. They're not afraid to spend
He's not even on the podcast.
Daniel's going to get on the podcast soon.
He's going to be like, not.
That's
We're doing a part 2 with just Daniel.
Daniel needs to talk shit about us too.
It's unfair. It's punching down when someone can't. There's no right of reply. He's going to come out like Billy Slater. Tell me this is why people neck themselves, because you tease them on the podcast and they can't say nothing back to you. But seriously, you do that. Just to finish the point, it's spend your time doing what you're best at, and don't be afraid to spend company resources bringing in experts around that to support you.
100%.
Agree or disagree, bro?
I've got one more to wrap it up, and then I'll go to agree or disagree. Now, speaking of doing, going after your strengths, tell me a bit about DNM Digital. This is where I want your plug. You've given us a plug. This is your floor.
That's it.
I'd love to, what do you guys really specialize on? You know what? Let's go to Joey.
Yeah, Joey's the best.
What do you guys really specialize on? What's your, what's your strengths? What do you go for, Joey?
Yeah, done. I think the biggest strengths with DNM Digital is we genuinely care. And a lot of agencies will say, oh, look, we genuinely care, but sign the dotted line for a 24-month agreement. It's not how we operate. A lot of the time we build trust with our clients by saying, hey, look, start off with us on a month-to-month agreement. You've got no risk. There's nothing involved here. You don't like us in 30 days, off you go. But the best part about that is someone looks at us and says, wow, these guys are ready to say, give it a shot. And so when someone actually starts with us and they feel the difference, like, cool, I trust these guys. There's no long-term commitment. I'm not risked up. I'm not signing a personal guarantee. Like, it makes a lot of sense to them. And the second thing for us is we only hire senior talent. So I might sell a bit of a dream to an extent. I might tell them what we can achieve, but the team really backs that up. And that's where I love the people that we've hired to date, we're nothing without our team. You know, we're here today, but our team's probably doing a bit of work behind the scenes.
So you guys spend a lot of money on people you hire because it's
Senior
senior talent. So the Hormozi quote was the biggest arbitrage you can make is the difference you pay someone who's like low skilled and high skilled. Do you guys see that in your business?
We learned that from
Very early on.
very early on. So when we first started, we hired a junior, no experience. It was a detriment to the business because we were growing so quickly. We didn't have the time to train up this certain individual.
This was on the account management side, and it's very, very quickly we realized there's a necessity to have that senior talent as you scale quite quickly because you don't necessarily have the specific time. Like you need to have a team to train a team. Does that make sense? So you can't, as directors, if we're continuing to scale and we want to maintain a premium product and service, we need to give that premium service. And if we have someone that's coming in that's a bit more junior and can't give that premium service, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. So we're a big believer, you make a mistake once, learn from it, don't do it again. So everyone we've hired since has been senior quality, and I think that will maintain all the way up until a certain point where we have probably 10 people in each team and they are at maybe like a 75% capacity that allows that sort of gap to train someone that is maybe a little bit junior to get to that before they even take on any clients. So yeah, in our particular, I guess, model and structure, we rely on senior talent. And I think it's necessary, especially because we are giving off a much more, I guess, premium service and performance-focused service. You need it. If someone doesn't know what they're doing, how are you going to give a performance and premium service?
100%.
And to add to that, like when you mentioned what makes DNM different, I guarantee you if you guys went and reached out to 10 different agencies to support with Latitude, they would all give you unrealistic expectations and it would sell you the absolute dream on what's possible. And then if DNM comes along and says, no, like we really want to help you, we're not your marketing partner, we want to be like engraved in your business, but what everyone's told you is unrealistic, this is actually what's possible, they actually trust you a whole lot more because they've been burnt already 3 or 4 times by someone who's sold them the dream. So they've just got another bloke coming in saying, hey, do this, it's going to work. But I'm coming in saying, no, that's actually not possible. If you want to go do it. But in 3 months, you're going to come back to me because what they said to you doesn't actually happen. And I think they appreciate the transparency. So for us, I think another big thing is
you do the expectation setup, right?
Heavy.
And expectation setup is not like overselling. It's literally saying this is what you're going to do. But then the good businesses are different from the shit businesses because the good ones actually follow through and do exactly what they said they're going to do. That's all you got to do. It's not hard. Business is not hard. No. You just got to tell people what you're going to do and actually do it, and you'll retain your clients and you'll make profit.
Yeah. And it was funny. I actually won a deal the other day. I'll give a bit of insight into this one. A client asked me and they said to me, I want to know what I can expect from this campaign. The reason why he went with us was because I said, I actually can't give you any indicators here. I said, you've got no past performance indicators. You've never spent $1. I said, I can give you a number here, but who's to say it's real or fake? I said, and what am I basing this on? He's like, mate, I asked you this question because I just asked someone else and they gave me an answer, but I don't know how they got that answer. I said, there we go. I said, I can't give you anything. He's like, done, let's go ahead.
That's awesome.
So, I think be transparent, be honest, earn your stripes, show the customer what you can do for them, and they will take care of you 100-fold in return.
100%. Love to hear it. Mark Burra says there's someone who tears through material, being the salesperson, but there has to be someone that stitches it up behind them, being the production team. So having that sales to production dynamic is huge. And then, John, I just want to unpack you quickly off the cuff, the old flick pass out the back with the Hormozi says the biggest arbitrage is the way. So just unpack that a bit.
So Hormozi on one of his recent videos goes, the biggest arbitrage you can make is the difference in what you pay a highly skilled staff versus a low skilled staff. What does he mean by that? Let's say you're paying a junior 50 grand a year and they know absolutely nothing. So you're going in every day teaching them, this is how you're talking about posting social media. This is how you create a video. This is how you edit. This is how you do captions. This is how you edit. This is how you post. This is when you post it. You're spending a lot of your time working on them to get results. You're teaching them. So a low cost worker is lower cost because they're lower skilled and they're actually, it's a semi trade-off. You're actually spending your money training them. So they're getting 2 forms of payment. You're paying them in the low wage you pay them. The other payment you're giving them is the investment in them in their education. A high skilled person gets paid completely in money. You don't really invest much in them. They know more than you. So you're hiring people that know as much or more than you in a certain field, and it's completely monetary based. So they're giving you double the value. But what you find is it ends up being triple the value. And there's an arbitrage there because you're paying them double, but they're making you triple. That difference between you're paying them 100, but they're making you 200 grand, that 100 grand arbitrage, you get, if you do that en masse, so you do that with a big head count, that's how a business turns over heaps of money, makes heaps of profit. At the end of the day, you're not going to make profit where you got a whole business full of juniors where you're spending all your time training them, okay, and you think you've saved money, but everyone gets paid the same. But you're paying them in the investment you're putting in them rather than in dollars, and it's a lot cheaper to pay people more dollars when they ROI and pay you more in actually the value they bring.
In the accounting world, how many months do you think it takes to get a junior up to like an autonomous scratch?
48 months to
Wow.
60 months.
And then they leave you after 3 years potentially, and you're like,
well, if a junior leaves anywhere in the first 3 years, you've made no money on them. Yeah, the first 3 years. So it's a profession. So in a professional service, when you go sitting with an accountant and you pay them $500 to $1,000 an hour for advice, you're not paying them because it costs $1,000 for them to be there. You're paying them because they've got 20 years of experience under their belt, learning exactly every structure, every tax law, the way things work. You can't get a junior to a senior position in anywhere, like for two reasons. One, the time it takes to learn everything in the industry and to see all the scenarios play out in real life. And two, their maturity level. You bring in someone at 18 years old, 19, 20, 21. I don't care who they are. I don't care how smart they are. There's something that is to be said for the maturity of being around an industry for 10 years.
Yep.
Have someone in the industry for 10 years. I don't care if their IQ is 50 or 150. They're still going to produce better than someone who's 18, 19 years old, even if they're a genius, because there's just that industry experience being around clients, being around scenarios that is irreplaceable.
I agree.
100%. All right, boys, let's move over to agree or disagree. You've
Oh,
been
yeah.
pushing me
Paddles.
along to this. So grab your paddles and let's go. So the first one I'm going to go with is the average marketing agency lies about their results. Agree or disagree? We've all gone with agree. John, you've gone with disagree. I'm going to call on Joe and John on this one. Joey.
It's simple. If you understand marketing, you know, for example, you can use branded and non-branded key terms on a Google Ads campaign. Most agencies will say, oh my God, we got this client 50 to 1 return on investment, but they're also leveraging the brand like Latitude Accountants in the search terms. So it's like, understand the data and say, hey, look, put aside the brand equity, put aside what the brand's bringing through. If I'm running a Google Ads campaign, what's my non-branded keywords pulling through, like accountant in Marrickville, accountant in Homebush? So yes, a lot of people will inflate the data, but if you can ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers and know whether it's a good or bad agency.
Excellent. Matt, I might go over to you
fair.
in this one. The average marketing agency lies about the results. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
Why?
Well, it's same thing, similar to what Joey is mentioning. Like a lot of agencies will give you false metrics or glorified metrics to showcase that they're doing well. But in fact, if you ask the question, how is this affecting my bottom line, or how is this affecting the amount of leads or sales I'm getting, they can't actually answer it.
Yep.
That is the biggest difference between, I guess, a premium agency and an average agency. The premium agency is going to take it to that next level. How do the numbers that they're telling you is going up in the right direction actually affect the amount of leads or sales you're getting? That is what a premium agency is. An average agency will do everything they can to showcase you something going up, even if it means nothing at all. What common ones are is like keyword reach is going up from an SEO perspective, or your impressions are going up. You know what I mean? And those two things should go up either way. You know what I mean? If you're doing nothing.
But your dollars in the bank are going down.
Correct. On a Google Ads side of things, Joey's already given a great example. On the Meta ad side of things, it'd be impressions is increasing. You're reaching more people. Okay, am I reaching the right people? Are they actually converting? Yeah. What is converting actually giving me more set? Like, are they actually the right people? Yeah. There's so much to it, and I feel like a lot of people lean on the bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's easy. It's easy to do. So, John, you disagreed, probably for the sake of disagreeing. All right. What's the average marketing agency lies about their results? Agree or disagree?
All right. The average marketing agency lies about their results. Disagree. I'm very nuanced about words. Okay, words have meaning.
I knew you were going to take this
I
one.
don't think they lie. I don't think they lie. And what it is, they take advantage of a misunderstanding and a lack of understanding of the marketing terminology with their clients. They don't understand. Like an average business owner doesn't know if something is like a brand type expenditure or performance based. That they don't understand the difference in these terminologies. So what they do is they throw a whole lot of words at you. And they throw a whole lot of metrics at you. You don't know what the difference is. If you're a business owner and you're in touch with your business, you understand how much traffic your website's generating, how many leads are coming through the door, whether they're good or shit, how often you're converting them, what the difference is, what the source is, that you can't be lied to. Because you're in touch with your business, you understand there's a direct correlation between your marketing efforts and what's happening in your business, and you understand it. The problem is you're not being lied to. It's that you're misinformed and you don't understand even what you're asking.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to actually work with a team that is willing to educate you on what conversions are and you know what the ad spend is and what these keywords are and all the terminology, and actually take time. And this is what we see with DNM, right? They take time to sit down with you, have regular meetings, catch-ups, explain those things to you, okay? So you know what they're saying and not just fall for, you know, the typical spin doctors that, you know, will come in and say, and basically tell you, yeah, this is great, we spent this much and this happened, bro, but I don't have, my business has not grown 1%. I haven't got a single phone call. Well, ask the right questions and they won't lie to you, because they're not actually liars. They're just really good salespeople. And they're business owners and they're answering the question. They're not doctoring reports and giving you fake numbers. They're just giving you metrics that may not be relevant to your business.
100%.
I do think, touching on what you're saying, like the business owners, if you are a business owner, I always say, and our staff say the same thing, the best performing campaigns or clients that we have are where it's a collaboration. Like the client is as equally involved as what we are. And this is like more to other business owners. If you don't have the time to understand the numbers that are coming through, it's best that you start thinking about hiring someone that can for you. For sure. And given it that time, because you're only hindering yourself.
It's called the marketing department.
Correct.
And there's some things that business owners have forgotten in the last 20 years, because I'm old enough to remember when I started in business, in a job, in a company. There used to be something called a marketing department. There used to be something called an accounts department. And it's like business owners are forgetting that these functions ever existed. Like the businesses, when they grow and develop, you need to invest in people that work in the administrative, operational side of your business. Okay, so the agencies are great and they help. And you work with them, and accounting firms are great and they help. But when I started in accounting, there was an accounts receivable person, an accounts payable person, a payroll person, an accounts manager, a CFO. Like these are roles in your business as you grow your business. It's something you guys will think about as well. And a lot of our clients have to think about is how am I going to bolster up that side of my business? The business owner doesn't do all the administrative elements of the whole business and only hire technical staff. You need to have two sides of your business, and that's what we're experiencing at Latitude. Like we're growing out our operations side with marketing staff and HR and legal and sales team. Like you need to build all these roles because you yourself do not know everything. No, despite popular opinion.
And that's where it all comes down to, is the whole ego side. You have to leave your ego at the door. Mate, like I'm not going to say the word. Bad word. But I never forget this. We went and saw a client, one of our great clients in Melbourne, and very similar age to us, 3 boys as well, and they called themselves, in the most simplest word, dumb. You know what I mean? We always say to each other, all 3 of us are dumb. Other than what we do.
Insert word
other than what we do, and we're going to stick to that, and that makes us leave our ego at the door and make sure that we make the right decisions and bring in the right people to help us make these decisions. And I think it's perfect, you know what I mean? You really got to, if you're great at certain things and not others, bring the people in that is going to help you make those decisions and help you grow further, or else you're going to be stuck. You get to a certain point and then you'll just plateau there or start coming back down again.
100%. 100%. Love to hear it. All right. We'll go on to the spending under $3,000 a month on marketing is a waste of time. Spending under $3,000 a month on marketing is a waste of time. Do I agree or disagree? I disagree. We've all gone disagree. That's a shame. All right. Joey, why do you disagree?
Cool. Depends on the goals of the business. Yes. If you're a local barbershop, you can get away with something like that. If you're a local hairdresser, you can get away with something like that. Doesn't mean you need to be doing SEO, Google ads. You could just be doing content. Get in touch with someone in your local area, develop some content shoots, make it look good, make it look fancy, get some social proof going. So $3,000 is more than enough. Sure. But if you're trying to rank in position 1 for credit card loan Sydney, and you tell me you got $3,000, I'll tell you run away. Like, get out of here. So it's very much so based on context. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? What is the business that you're working on? And working with what you can.
Cool. Matt?
Yeah, and I think Joey is really great at that when a client comes through, because as you can imagine, we get an abundance of leads,
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
However, I would say probably 80% of them don't have the required budget yet to get to the goals that they want to achieve. And Joey's really great at giving them that piece of advice and saying, hey, come back when you can at least do this, because then you're going to get actual results. And it comes back to the whole point that we did before. I'd say talking about that 80% rule, 80% of agencies will take that on though.
Yeah.
And just use it as a
And just
cash
take the
grab
money and
and then
move on.
take the money and move on.
And then it becomes a retention issue, and it
Yeah.
becomes
Yeah.
a staff morale issue, and it
Yeah,
becomes a whole load of
then
issues.
it becomes a brand issue.
Becomes
The
a
whole
brand
thing
issue,
falls apart.
reputation
Yeah.
issue, and it was never even worth that $1,500 where you're probably making 15% on. It's like wasn't worth anything.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So pick your battles wisely. Yeah, take on what's good.
I agree with what you're saying, and the sentiment's true. Like, start somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, is it a waste of time to go to the gym and walk on a treadmill for 10
No.
minutes? Like, all right, obviously you should go spend more time, do weights, whatever. But if you're doing nothing, but you go to doing 10 minutes on the treadmill, you started. That's good. So we don't want to discourage people from starting, okay? But there is a misunderstanding of what marketing is, and it's something that's taken me 20 years as an accountant to realize is marketing is like steroids, okay? You can do things in business to grow your business without marketing per se, right?
Yep.
But you're still marketing. What you're doing is you're doing it at the slowest possible rate, word of mouth, and time is of the essence. We're only here for a certain amount of time, right? If you actually realize that you can speed up the growth process exponentially by spending on marketing, you will save time. So there is an element of less you spend on marketing, the more time you're wasting.
Yep.
You can actually run so many more analysis and scenarios if you get on the roids in the business, all right, and bulk up, push out heaps of cash into marketing, get all the problems that come with that. So work out what sort of marketing is good and bad. Then when you get the leads in, work out how your business breaks. The best thing about marketing is the work that follows, and then you break your business because you can't keep up with the work, and you can now grow. It's like hypertrophy training. Like you can now grow faster because you're breaking your business.
Yeah.
Break your business.
Yeah.
Spend money on marketing, get more leads than you can handle. So then you can go back and take stock as a business owner and say, how come I got 7 leads last week and we only called 3 and only signed 1? Oh, I was too busy. Why was I too busy? I was wasting time reviewing. You have to do the reps. Marketing helps get the volume through the door, and you need to waste money on marketing. Yeah. You need to waste money on marketing to work out what works, right? So me and this bloke and all the guys here, all the girls here, we see so many P&Ls, and so many times, bro, we're so sad. We go down, we see income, we see expenses, blah, 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 we see profit. We see advertising and marketing. Revenue, 278,000 every year for the last 10 years, and advertising and marketing are $643. Oh, we bought some shirts for the boys. We bought shirts for the boys. Oh, that's cool, bro.
Yeah.
But you're turning over 278 grand every year, and you tell me you pay too much tax, bro. You don't pay too much tax.
Yeah.
Guess what? You pay no tax. You know what your problem is? You're not growing. You know why you're not growing? Because you think marketing's a waste of money because your uncle said to you, oh, why would you throw $5 grand in the bin on SEO? Bro, your uncle's a retard. You know what I mean?
He is, I love it.
Your uncle's cook. All right? Your uncle's cook. Your uncle's never done anything in business, all right? You need to do the reps. You need to spend the money. You need to waste the money on marketing. If you don't go waste 50 grand on marketing and get no ROI, you haven't even started to figure out the problem.
No.
All right? So people are too scared to throw money in the bin on trying to invest in their business, and they're just too conservative, and their businesses are going nowhere, and then that's it. They're cashing out and they're done.
You know, from a marketing side, the businesses that don't work that I deal with, or the businesses that never grow, are the ones that always come back to me, and they just always want it to make it work. It's like, Joe, it's got to work. Is it going to work? Is it going to work in 2 or 3 months? I won't do it.
Yeah.
And they'll come back to me again in 6 months. Joe, what about now? No, it's not. Like, things haven't changed. Just start. You're right. Start somewhere. Spend a little bit. Test. Understand what works.
Do you know how many people say to me, I tried SEO, and the marketing agency said to me,
For 3 months.
It takes 6 months to see results, but after 2 months, nothing changed. And so I stopped. And then I listened to them. I say, yeah, but like, you have to wait 6 months. And they go, nah, bro, that's just a ploy. They just want me to keep paying for 6 months. I go, bro, you're going nowhere in your business.
Yeah.
You're making no money. You can't afford your mortgage.
Yeah.
So what if you fail?
Yeah.
Like, spend more money, lose your business.
Yeah.
You're not going to starve. We live in Australia, bro. This is my pet peeve.
Go for it.
We live in Australia. No one in this country is ever going to starve. All right, they won't let you starve. Try starve.
I know, it's hard.
No one will let you.
Anytime soon.
You still got dumplings from yesterday.
I ordered too many dumplings yesterday, brother. I've got
The
plenty of
dumplings,
spare.
bro. Everyone gets fat. No one's gonna starve.
Yeah.
They won't let you live on the street. They'll put you in housing commission. They won't let you get sick. They'll put you in hospital. You cannot fail in this country. But yet people are still scared to fail. It's better off to fail than to keep doing the same thing every year on year, for 20 years and get no results. Please fail.
Comfort's the biggest killer.
Yeah,
It's a huge killer.
and this is so you've made a great analogy: business and hypertrophy, or training in the gym. Which, you know, I'm sure Matty understands. I'm looking at him
Give
with
the
the
camera
guns
flex,
out.
man.
Yeah,
Give the camera flex.
with the guns out.
We're not on a gym podcast.
I've seen the Bucks photos.
Guys, we've got Maddie in from DNM Digital today just to tell us what it's like to be 4% body fat. Maddie, how's it feel?
What about after the dumplings? It's still 4%.
I reckon we've gone up to about 8% after last night, but that's okay. It's all worth it.
So not enough business owners put themselves in pain and then grow from that pain. So the marketing, yes. People are scared sometimes to, if I increase the marketing, it means I have more sales and then I can't keep up with my current sales. But you've got to fix the business, and that's what allows you to fix the business.
Yeah.
It's always push yourself to the limit, repair, sustain, and then go again. And marketing allows you to do that. And there are unknown problems you don't have because you're just not willing to take yourself to the next level. Comfort is the pain, is the killer of growth.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just get too comfortable doing the same old thing, doing the same old revenue. Businesses are a growing organism. They need to grow.
Yeah. I think it's good. You know, we these days get a high when something breaks in the business. I'm like, oh yeah, that's mad.
Yeah, 100%.
And I see it as a positive thing. So I think it's changing your perspective as well. Like when shit goes wrong, that's fun.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, mad, I fixed that, now it won't happen again, and now I can scale again. So
For sure.
I think change your perception. Change your perception on what's good, what's bad. Change your perception on, not everyone's trying to rot you. People are there to help you, and if you can put that in mind and go with it, things will work.
100%.
I think as well, like marketing agencies, it's in their best intention for you to do well. Because
100%.
the better you do, the more you spend, the more money we make. It's just the way it works. It's a cycle. So we want businesses to do well because they'll invest more into marketing.
Yeah.
I think, and again, I guess a lot of people, because there is a lot of agencies that are out there to, you know what I mean? Just get you in at a quick cash grab. Yeah, a lot of people, there is a misconception in our market, or it's not really a misconception. You can get burnt in our industry. So a big thing of what we're trying to do when we first came into this was to reinvent that perception, slowly one client at a time. But that's it.
No, I love it.
So mum can invest. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Good. We should get your mums on the podcast after this, and then just present your business and say, listen,
Would you invest? We'll do a Shark Tank with all our mums. We'll bring all our mums in and we'll do a Shark
That's it.
Tank.
Yeah.
Bro, that'd be an interesting podcast.
That'd be dangerous.
I'm glad you said mums. My dad still doesn't know what I do for a living. He still tells everyone I'm in construction. I was telling the boys the other day. Someone asked my dad, "What's your son do?" Construction.
Were you ever in construction?
Yeah, I got a construction degree.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
Oh, there
makes
you go.
sense.
Yeah, very
That's
good.
interesting.
All
Yeah,
right.
came from construction.
All right. Lebanon construction. Who would have thought?
Yeah,
Such a
Yeah,
weird.
then you're right.
That's the field.
no. He still got his license. That's good.
Yeah. So we can
that
take all
one
the
away.
profits from the marketing and build duplexes.
That's
Yeah,
it. That's
Inshallah,
the end goal.
inshallah, one day.
That's the whole goal.
This show should be called "How to Build a Business So You Can Pull Out Profits and Build Duplexes."
I'll get a one-on-one with that. Joey, you'll tell you the whole thing. Very good. All right. Let's go with you need a personal brand to win in digital marketing. You need a personal brand to win in digital marketing.
Oh no.
It's a tough one. I'm going to go with disagree because we're going to get nuanced around the need.
Yeah.
Let's reframe the question.
Yep.
A personal brand helps your marketing efforts.
Oh yeah.
Agree? We're on the same page.
There's pros and cons to both.
Yes.
I guess it depends on also your industry and where you want the business to be. I feel like sometimes people over rely on their personal brand, and then people want to work with Jacob only, and only want to work with John, or only want to work with Matthew. That can also hurt you because you can't service everyone.
Absolutely.
As you grow, one thing you can do though is put a premium on your time and service for sure, and I see that happen a lot. Like makeup artists, I see it quite often, or hair, like salons and whatnot. People want to work with those individuals because they built that whole personal brand around them, or mortgage brokers and the rest of them. But if you want to build a brand, but it can help, but you need to boost the brand's awareness, not your personal brand awareness.
One thing I have seen, that's a great point, but one thing I've also seen is that there's a lot of people on social media with big followings and have big personal brands. But when push comes to shove and they try to sell something to their audience doesn't want to buy it.
Yeah.
Just because you have a big personal brand online does not mean you can start a t-shirt company the next day and that your consumers will buy your thing. Especially, like, for example, I've seen a lot of entertainment style influencers, and they're funny and they do skits and it's very funny, whatever. But then when they go to push out their product, it's like, bro, we don't want your product. We just think you're funny.
We just want you to make us laugh.
Yeah.
Or we just, if you're educating, we just want the tips.
Yeah.
We don't care.
That's it.
So there is some element of, sometimes there's a disconnect between if you think you can grow your personal brand and you've grown a personal brand successfully, you still have to, it always has to be relevant to what your consumers have grown around. So if it's entertainment, perhaps it's you doing a comedy show, not rather than selling acai or something like that. You know what I mean? So, but people, I think, and in today's environment, they over-index. Yeah,
over-index it.
Correct. In today's environment, it's very much like people can get to 0 to 500,000 followers in no time at all. It's hard work, but they can get there, and then they haven't actually developed any business model or any. The audience is just disconnected from what they want to do. That's also my 2 cents. So,
saying, Joey?
I do agree, and I think, like, even with us when we first started, we had no brand, but we're winning customers based on being direct-led sales and being personable with people. But as you grow, what we try and do is, like, we have content shoots done. I try and avoid having us three in the content, just to pull away from that and build up the brand around the team, not necessarily around Daniel, Matthew, and Joseph.
Sure.
But I feel like a lot of people don't do that because they want to be seen as face of DNM or as face of Latitude, whatever it is. But I think it puts you in a hole. Yeah. But does it help with brand? 100%. Because rather than someone typing in SEO agency or Latitude accountants, they're typing in accountant near me because they don't know you exist.
Yeah.
I would always double down and triple down on brand before I triple down on anything else.
The biggest company brands are are out there, are not linked to personal brands. Am I right on that? But I'm just thinking big like the biggest companies in the world, like Google, whatever. It doesn't matter who you are. It's the service you want. It's the service you provide. The company you are. So, I think we had this debate in the office. Like, me, Tufi, Jacob were chatting. Were saying, bro, you don't actually need. Sometimes you don't actually need a personal brand if you're willing to. Like, if you're plugging money into digital, like Google ads, right? If you're doing even conventional radio, TV advertising, whatever you're doing, right, if you're just pushing the brand out there, it will generate phone calls. So if you're someone that's shy, you don't want to be in front of a camera, you don't want to be on a podcast, there's no mandate where it says if you don't do this, you will not grow your business. Yeah. But marketing is so diverse, so wide. The problem is you're not doing anything at all. You can spend money and be invisible and still grow a cracker business. Yeah. You can be a great operator and never be in front of a camera at all. Some people like being in front of a camera. Do you know what I mean? Some people like that, and it's like it adds value. They enjoy the work more because they're being that name and they're being seen and whatever. If that's you, then do that. If it's not you, you don't have to do that. And sometimes you actually grow the business faster. Just instead of spending more money putting your face out there, you're just doing more Google ads to your website, and you're going to generate more money, actual profit, than if you're spending money trying to build up your PR brand and getting, spots on TV, radio, whatever else.
Yeah. Sure. So you can build a business without dancing on TikTok.
Agree.
100%. But if you can dance on TikTok and you enjoy it, bro, dance on TikTok.
That's it.
If you like to dance, bro. You know what I mean? Sure. Who's going to stop you from dancing?
That's it. That's it.
Very good. Daniel's about to jump on the table. I'm holding him back.
Our marketing guy, his name's Nathan. Bro, let me tell you, he can dance. Every opportunity we get to do reels, if you see it, he's doing some sort of dancing.
I've seen
him do handstands as well.
Handstands, dancing, and this and that. And some of us think he moonlights to something like.
I've seen him do a bit of haraket on the table as well.
Yeah, he does some stuff.
Haraket is like a bit of.
I've tried to look him up like on the darker side of the internet. I can't find him. There's nothing there.
All right, maybe he's got a stage name. Who knows?
We don't know. We don't know what his moonlighting is.
It's too tricky. I'm going to move it on to the rapid fire. I've looked at the time. I cannot believe how time has flown with you guys. It's always a pleasure speaking to you. But I'm going to go. What is the biggest waste of money people spend on marketing? And I'm going to go to Matt on this one. Rapid fire. What's the biggest waste of money people spend on marketing?
Yeah, good question. I think it all dependent on the industry, very much so, because I guess different clients will spend in different areas. It's never the same. I think this is where a lot of people go wrong and a lot of, I guess, for an example, there's agencies out there right now from an e-commerce perspective that only sell the exact same model and training to every single e-com business. All right.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't, in my opinion, yes, it's all e-com, but one e-com business is selling a $5 item, the other one could be selling a $5,000 item. Is the same strategy going to work for both? No. And that's where I think a lot of businesses could go wrong, is actually trying to force the exact same.
Force the strategy.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's different for everyone. Like what works for you guys, even as accountants, even different types of the same business, you know what I mean? Different accountant agencies or sole trade, like individual accountants, that you guys will all have a different strategy to what works best for you.
Wouldn't Google Ads work for everyone?
No.
So who wouldn't Google Ads work for?
Mortgage brokers, for an example,
Okay.
or anyone in that industry. So like, for an example, if depending on the industry, or like a law firm, you know what I mean? If you've got a law firm that is starting up, I would never encourage Google Ads. Why? You're competing with all these massive law firms.
Like the compensation lawyers and that?
Compensation lawyers are $300 a click.
All right, so
Yeah.
it's they're priced out now. It's too expensive. It's cooked. Okay.
Yeah. And again, like it's.
But let me ask you.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, why are they paying the money?
So if it works because they control the market, these big players.
Oh,
For an
okay.
example, like let's say mortgage brokers, you're competing with the top 5 banks. Okay, they've got endless money, endless pit there, and they only need, like, the value of that job or the value of that client is quite high. But they know they need to spend maybe 10,000. Let's say they know that their cost per conversion needs to be, let's say, $1,000 or $2,000, and they still make profit on that. Whilst a small law firm, for example, that's trying to get into compensation law, they can't fathom that, because if they only have $2,000 to spend, they're going to get 1 lead a month, and let's say out of 10 leads, 1 converts. That means they need to wait 10 months before they get 1 successful person. They'll go bust.
Yeah.
And also to add to that, sometimes it's not about the lead. Sometimes it's about dominating the market.
Correct.
Not letting anyone else be
100%.
there.
Monopoly.
But also flushing them out. Like, hey, I've got that much money. I'm going to put myself here even though I don't want it. Even though I know it's not going to work, but you can't be there now.
Bro,
And
do
my
you know
name's
who,
going to be
do you know who does this? Uber Eats, bro.
Yeah.
We signed up to what's the premium one where you know delivery
Uber One.
Uber One,
Yeah.
bro. Uber One free for the first 3 months, so they hook you up. There's their
I'm on it now.
There's
as well.
their lead
Don't worry,
magnet
I'm
there.
in.
Then I went to cancel. All you have to pay is $1 for the next 3 months.
Oh, really?
So they've got me for 6 months. What's that doing, bro? It's just for their shareholders to say, we're acquiring customers at X rate.
Yep.
And then we've undercut the market, and eventually people will become so dependent on us that we can up the prices from there.
Yeah.
So you see this a lot. We've seen some industry players do this, where they just
Market
go
share
in.
is more important.
That's it. They go in, collect market share, make you dependent on their ecosystem.
Yeah.
That was
and then-
Amazon
and then bump
model.
up the
So
prices.
Amazon made no profit forever until
Temu's
they
the same now.
took
How are you
over
going to keep
everyone.
up with that?
Yeah.
Hey, but this is what I said I was actually having a chat with Tufik this week. I said, bro, profits are bad because we throw out crazy ideas.
You're crazy, bro.
Yeah, we throw out crazy ideas, right? And
do a
this
lot with
is how you learn from each other. You got to say something absurd and then work back from it and work out if it is absurd. I said, bro, profits are bad. He goes, what do you mean profits are bad? We're accountants. Profits are good. We're always telling people how to make profit, blah, blah. I said, bro, profits in your business are the opportunity for your competitors to do the same service for less money than you and take your market share. Okay? So I said, he goes, yeah, but you got to be better than that. I go, okay, stop. I said, me and you. I go, let's say me and you were separate and we did exactly the same service and I charge $14 and you charge $15. Who are they going to come to? And then he starts giving me like, what if we're better at this? I stop. Okay, let's say exactly the same service. The market will go to the person who provides the service for less money. Yeah. Okay? So talking about what is profit? Profit is the excess between the value you're providing and the money you're charging. Ideologically, the less that margin is, the more market share you'll have. And this is what the monopolies are. They try to do things where they say, let's do things at no profit, as close to no profit as possible, get all the market share. Yep. When we control the market, we can up the prices. So is there some truth to profits are bad? Well, yeah, every profit dollar you make in your business is a $1 opportunity for your competitor to undercut you. So there is a trade-off to how much profit you make, okay? So, you know, the businesses in marketing that are making too much profit are churning through clients too quickly because they're making too much profit. They're providing not enough value, and they're not understanding how bad those profits are. Make less profit so it's palatable, so you can actually provide more value and keep that client on long term. And there is a sustainable level of profit where you're doing it the right amount, where you will continue to grow and you won't churn through clients. And in the long run, you get the market share. And next thing you know, you're Jeff Bezos.
and I guess it's at both ends as well. Like, I feel like to enter a market, it's a similar plan and attack. You need to somewhat offer a better service 100%. At a cheaper rate. 100%. There's a whole, I'm not going to get into it. There's a whole study around it. It's called the Red Ocean Strategy. And then there's the Blue Ocean Strategy. So Red Ocean Strategy is entering the market with a better service at a cheaper rate. The analogy that we used at uni, and it's probably the only thing I did learn at uni. I'm not discouraging people to not go to uni, but hey, I learned more on the job. That's for damn sure. The Red Ocean Strategy. Let's say we sold gaming consoles, it'd be bringing a product that's better than PlayStation, Xbox, PCs, Nintendo, whatever, at a cheaper rate. Entering the market, mastering the market. Once you master the market, you think of something outside of the box that will attract a market that would use gaming consoles but don't use them. So, for example, it was Wii Sports back in the day. That was a market that would never use a gaming console, that bought gaming console. And at that period in time, was the most bought gaming console of all time because they sold to everyone rather than just people that were nerdy gamers. And again, I'm a nerdy gamer myself, so no one take offense to that. But yeah, it's definitely on both sides of the spectrum. I think you need and it's probably a good thing to maintain the whole time, to make sure that you can, enter the market, and then once you're in the market, maintain your position and grow continuously, and then end up monopolizing the market. Sure. But yeah.
That's a great, so Blue Ocean Strategy, if you haven't read it, this is a must read for every business owner.
It's massive.
It's a reason I drink Yellowtail wines today as well. That's number one. Number two, everyone is so quick to say, you should increase your prices. The easiest thing for an accountant to say, by the way, when they see a sales figure is, bro, just charge more, right? Yeah. But it's like, dude, sometimes you're new to the market and you're trying to find your feet and you're not a premium product yet and you're trying to work it out. And sometimes you just need to stay where you are and then grow later. So I think it's all great analysis that you put forward. I'm going to go with two more rapid fires, one each.
Yep.
And then we'll go from there. So, Matt, what's one red flag you should look for in a marketing agency? So if there's one red flag in a marketing agency is basically the question.
Yeah, great question. I would say if they don't let you meet the team behind the account manager.
Right. Very cool.
Yeah. Why? Because there's no team behind the account manager.
Very good.
That's as simple as that. Like, if they don't let you meet, your paid specialist or your SEO specialist, they're most likely are either white labeling their service to some other agency or it's offshore, which again, look, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes some of this offshore talent is amazing. But it is also like finding needles in a haystack with finding great offshore talent. So, I think it's a big red flag if you can't actually meet the team who's working on your.
Fantastic. That's phenomenal insight. Thanks, Matt. Joey, what's something you wish more clients actually understood about how marketing works?
SEO packages are not the same. 10 times out of 10, someone will come up to me and be like, oh, Joe, you're telling me it's going to cost me $6,000 and someone else told me it's going to be $1,500. And what they don't understand is that it's output dependent. They're telling you $1,500 because they're a sales guy who's got to hit a KPI and they're just going to try and get you through the door at whatever it's going to take. I'm telling you the price that it's going to take to hit the objectives and goal that you're trying to get. I think people understanding that it's not a price and it's a done-for-you service, it's a price based on output. And sometimes you need a whole lot more output to get to what you want. So, there's definitely a difference in price point from there.
So, when they're selling SEO, are marketing agencies not selling the outputs? Are they saying with backlinks, whatever?
No.
They're just saying SEO.
And you don't know what you're getting. Like, I've got a lot of mates that have been investing in SEO, and when I, started doing this, they came over, which was great. But initially, I'd ask for, hey, can you give me, a statement of work or your 6-month plan or the links that they're building or the content that they're building, and they'll be like, oh, I don't have any of that. I don't have any visibility to that. Because some agencies, honestly, will take the money. You actually don't know what they're doing. They'll just showcase you some graphs to say, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that. Sorry, to go back to another red flag, just because this is one of my pet peeves, and there's agencies out there that do it. If you don't own your assets. So what I mean by that is we have a lot of cases where clients will come to us and the agency will hold their assets hostage, such as their Google Ads account or their Meta Ads account or their analytics or even their website itself. It's a big, big red flag, because if it's not yours, it's never going to be yours, unfortunately. So make sure, guys, that you own everything.
What did you guys do when your clients' assets were held hostage?
We
Did
had
you
to
try
start
send
again.
boys to their house?
We had the clients that tried to. One client going, bro, I'm going to rock up at this agency and cause some damage. I'm like, look, I'm not going to tell you what to do and what not to do.
Like their website or their ads or whatever?
So in this, we've had multiple cases, but the most recent one, it was the Google Ads account, Google Analytics account, Google Merchant Center, Google Search Console, and they even tried the website, but I had a sneaky way of getting the website. But yeah, all four of those, which are vital, because if it's like starting again, if you don't have those four, it's pretty much like starting. All your data's gone.
Do you know what accounting firms hold hostage? There's zero subscription and your corporate register.
Yes.
The old folder of like your company setup. It's like, you're not going to get this corporate register, so you pay my fees, son of a bitch.
You know, some agencies claim it as their own IP. Crazy. Some agencies say it's an NDA from Google. I've heard the wackiest stories. Crazy stories.
But if you're not just going to back yourself, and give the client their data. It's their data. I always say with Zero Files, bro, it's your data. I want you to own it. You need to understand this. It's your data. It's your business. So we'll go to a couple more. We'll spend a couple of minutes each on this, and then we'll wrap up. When does it actually make sense? John, I'm going to go to you, bro. When does it actually make sense to hire an in-house agency? Sorry, let me reframe that. When does it actually make sense to hire in-house instead of having an agency? Because we've always gone through the journey and had both.
For me, I understand this could be a very difficult question. I always believe that in-house you have to go more like generalist.
Yeah.
And then your agencies and whatnot have to be specialist. You can't just start a business and hire a marketing person that is just a video editing person. Like if your first marketing hire is just a video editor, I think, that's like 1/18 of the whole marketing industry. You need to work with someone that is a bit more generalist, knows a bit about everything, and then can work with agencies, work with people that can create content, that can do Google Ads, that can do SEO, that can do whatever. You can go to an agency that's also generalist too. There's no problem with that. That's got a spectrum. But if you're talking about in-house hire, small businesses don't have the budgets to hire 5 specialist marketing people in the first 20 years of business. So you're going to just hire someone that can come in. And don't hire and I've said this a million times, do not hire people based on just their specialist skill set. Hire people for their virtues. Okay, so hire someone who's got a marketing background with some skills and good skills and they're good at what they do, but they have to be brave, they have to be honest, they have to be hardworking, they have to be good people, they have to be people that love the people around them. You cannot have bad eggs in your business. The person you hire has to be a good person before they're a good marketing person or a good accountant. And we're not really pushing that message a lot. Like there's a lot of like hire for skills, hire for meritocracy, or hire for diversity, hire because they're black or they're gay or whatever. I don't care. We hire everything. It doesn't matter what you are, female. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm saying hire them no matter what they are, but not to be diverse or not just on merit. Hire them because they're good people, and then you'll actually build a culture in your business where you cannot fail. There's no business of good, hardworking, diligent, virtuous people where they will not find a way to succeed.
Of course. Couldn't agree more.
100%. On the back end of it, when do you guys think someone should have an in-house agency versus an external?
What you said was perfect. An agency always thinks, we'll do our SEO in-house, but they don't understand, most businesses don't have the funds to afford that person in-house, but also there's so many additional costs that go into an SEO consultant, it blows itself out of proportion. Sure. If business owners were hiring, you're right, hire a generalist and specialize with an agency who can help you with those specific departments, because most marketers are what we call like a T-shaped marketer. They know maybe 1 or 2 aspects. They don't know email marketing. They don't know SEO, but maybe they know Google Ads and they know Meta Ads. So you're never going to find someone to know everything. But what you said, 100% spot on. And when do you go internal? I think when you need someone there that's a shoulder tap away and you're doing a whole lot more, that's when you can go internal. But the biggest problem is finding that talent is so difficult, and most people get bored working internal. Like, it's just too much. So if you hire a Google Ads specialist to work on, your brand and your business only, there's only so much they can do. So there's only so many working hours in a day that they can spend on it before it's like, man, I've done everything. There's nothing else to do. So yeah, it's like you got to be really up there in terms of company size and structure before I think hiring internally for those specialist roles makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still, some of these massive companies in Australia still use agencies.
100%.
Like, there's
They make us sign NDAs though. We've got so many instances now where we work with these massive companies as consultants or as advisors. We're pretty much teaching their team on how to do it, but we've got NDAs that it's like, hey, you can't tell anyone we're working with you guys, but we're advising.
And then we get the small business owner that comes to us and says, hey, I'm going to hire someone internally and sack you guys off. And we always have a laugh. We're like, all right,
I'll see you in 6 months, bro.
How are they going to do this, and this? And they can't answer the question. Look, there's growth stages in a business. There's a growth stage to when you need an agency to support you to take you to the next level. The growth stage to bring someone in-house to support that team. And then another growth stage to potentially hire another one in-house or grow out the agency further. I do think there's a necessity for both. I think both work hand in hand. I think there's specific roles that you should probably go in-house eventually, such as potentially like the creative person, the graphic designer, a web developer. When you get to a certain specific stage of growth, it makes sense to do so, or else you can be paying an agency an arm and a leg to maintain those specifics. But the rest of it, like the Google Ads management, the SEO, that is something that it actually can hinder you if you go in-house. Why? Because you will be hiring one person, while an agency, most of the time, you'll have 3 or 4 people working on it. And what you're paying that agency for 3 or 4 people, you're paying half a person's salary in-house. Sure. A lot of people don't understand it, and that's when ego comes into it, because you'd rather see that person in-house, watch them, you know what I mean? And I think that hinders a lot of businesses for sure.
Completely agree. All right. Last one, and then we'll wrap up. You take this one where you will. If a client's budget was $1,000 versus $10,000 versus $100,000, I often, like, when I'm looking down my client's P&L and I see no marketing spend, I'm very quick to say, okay, you need a marketing strategy and you need to work out the lowest hanging fruit first, because we need to grow this business. How is there one low hanging fruit you would advise to any business, or is it very custom depending on their budget?
Yeah, I'll jump on that one. It's very custom, very, very custom. Most of the times people think, look, I'll just do SEO and that's it. But it's like, maybe SEO isn't exactly what you need. Maybe you need a meta campaign just to tell people around your local radius that you guys exist. So again, it's like, what are you trying to do? What are the goals of the business? What's priorities for the next 3 to 6 months? And developing a plan to work towards that. You might need 10, you might get away with 3, you might need 100, but it's super, super custom. If you're speaking to someone who just gives you a pre-given template or a pre-given pack, and it's like, hey, pick from one of these options that we can get started, run for the hills, because your goals are custom. You might tell me, man, I want the Marrickville community to know about me, so SEO isn't going to work. You need a meta campaign that specifically targets Marrickville. And maybe one of you guys stand in front, on the main strip of Marrickville Road. My name is, we're from Latitude Accountants. This is where we are. We've been here for the last 10 years. So an SEO campaign won't work. So the goals are very specific and the channel needs to be very specific.
I think sorry, John, you go first.
I was going to say, just with Google Ads, right?
Yeah.
It's an auction, right? So in a way, technically, if you set up your parameters right, there is no such thing as a budget, right? You could just put a huge budget on there with limited parameters, and if you don't get clicks, you don't get clicks.
It's how narrow you go.
Put those parameters, right?
Is how expensive it's going to be per person you try to reach.
Yeah.
So
whereas with Meta, right? They'll pay, like you're doing Meta ads, they'll run as many ads as you're paying for.
It's also an auction though.
That's an auction
too.
too.
So it's still real estate. So it's the way that auction works though is based on how many people are bidding, how many advertisers there are at that single time. So that's why CPM, which is cost per 1,000 people reach, naturally increases during a busier advertising time. So election time, for an example, it becomes a lot more expensive for everyone to advertise. Cyber weekend, after payday sales, all those specific timeframes where a lot more advertisers are going in and spending more. It affects everyone, has a flow-on effect. And same thing on Google Ads. But another one that I would say, I think one thing that they could do though that helps is looking proper. So what I mean by that is having a nice looking website, having their socials post regularly, at least with something, having some interaction there, I do think helps. Just because if you are doing marketing activity that is driving traffic, if you don't have the website to convert them, or when someone goes and looks at your socials, make sure you're legit, and you don't have that, it can probably deter people. Like I never forget when we first were going, we weren't really focusing on that side of things, and we nearly lost a client because they're like, "Oh, we went on your Instagram and there was nothing there, or we weren't posting regularly."
They were a bit sus whether we actually existed or not. It's like, man, really good sales pitch, but like, who are you guys?
Yeah.
You need some form of like presence.
So that 0 to 1 is very much if you're at 0, the like number 1 and the most ROI you're going to get initially right off the bat, just have a decent website, have a presence on social media.
I tell everyone 0 to 1, go live with TikTok, get some TikTok content out there, get some Instagram content out there. Like start off with what you can do, go mail drop if you have to. Go onto these little Facebook pages, go onto these networking groups, 1 to 3, you know, we can explore different options, and then 10 to 100, very, very different options. There's custom things that we can do at each point of the business journey.
Yeah, this is a question for you guys because I have this this might be a new service offering for you. I have a lot of clients who, you know, sales are one thing. We look at the ads and 0. That's like a common thing you'll see in accounting. They don't know what they don't know, and they don't know where to start. Right. So even if I say, okay, you need to grow your business, and there's a limited budget in doing that, do you guys have some sort of strategy session where you sit down with the client and say, okay, this is where we think you can add value to business? And even if that's just a paid consult, I think that would go so far in helping so many business owners, rather than them trying to figure it out along the way and burning.
So what I do is with the first call, whenever someone gets in touch with me, the boys love me and hate me for this. I want to unqualify more than I qualify. But if I unqualify you as a lead, I will always give them 5 minutes of value on what to do next. So it's like, hey, look, I can't help you today. The budget you have is just not enough to engage our services. But for the time being, I would suggest do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is how you can build yourself up without spending $1. And once you've got $5K a month to spend, come back to me. But until then, this is your roadmap and do this. And I'm happy for you to give me a call and you know, check in and ask me more questions. But I unqualify and I give them homework. I give them activities they can do. And if they do it, like, it will work.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Absolutely agreed. All right, awesome. Now I'm going to go to our final question. Unfortunately,
ADM Super.
I
didn't think he's going there anymore.
It's very good, bro. I could sit down and talk to you for another 3 hours. So perhaps next time we'll bring in another chair. Yeah. So we've actually got 2 sequels. The second one is with Daniel. The third one is you can bring your mums, and I will bring ours, and we'll have some dumplings.
And then if we bring our dads there, we can't do that. No. We'll probably get you guys cancelled. But that's all right.
We'll go off the podcast. Our dads can start their own. Never that.
The dad's podcast will be fun.
Very good. All right. Final question is, what do we got here? If you can. So this is a question that our last guest asked for our next podcast guest. At the end of this, I want you to have a question that we're going to ask. I'm not going to tell you who it is because that ruins the fun. If you could narrow down your product by half, what would you keep and what would you lose? Good question.
Keep narrow down your product by half.
Yeah.
For you, it'd be service offering.
Yeah. It'd be hard because you do need where marketing's going, and it's becoming harder and harder and harder every year because more and more people are investing in digital marketing. So you need more and more touch points to get the required lead, to get in front of the person enough times for them to consciously make a decision whether they want to use your service or not, or buy your product or not. So if we had to cut it down, we wouldn't actually be able to offer. We wouldn't be able to offer the required touch points that is required, like the required touch points to get someone to get across the line. So we'd be actually doing ourselves somewhat a disservice.
What's the main dichotomy in your business? Is it paid ads and SEO? Would they say they're too big? So if you had to get rid of paid ads or SEO, which one goes first?
Are you asking what makes business more profitable, or are you asking
what would you get rid of? On your own choice.
I'd get rid of paid media.
Get rid of paid.
I'd get rid of the SEO.
And we know what Daniel thinks. Daniel's scraping SEO.
Got a job.
Daniel, you kept your job, champ.
Look, and again, it's purely because like the ultimate, you know what I mean, what you should aim for as a business is to be ranking first for your required keywords, but also being there from an ads perspective as well. Why? is because you've automatically got 2 touch points before someone's even clicked through your site. So if, let's say, for example, there's another local accountant here and someone searches up accountant near me, you guys are showing up in the ads and you guys are showing up first in from an SEO perspective and also showing up in the Google business listing. You got 3 touch points, but I don't know, the mate, like one of the old Gil is down the road is only doing some very, very dodgy SEO and is showing up third. Who's someone going to most likely click through? You guys. And that's the same with every single business. So if we had to cut off one, then we would be doing our clients a disservice, because majority of clients, like I said, not everything. It's like some clients can't do SEO, some clients can't do paid ads, some clients can't do meta ads or TikTok ads. But ideally, for majority, I'd say 85% of businesses, you can do it all. You should do it all, or aim to do it all and build up to it so that you can have as many touch points as possible to get that person across the line. There's a whole psychological behavior thing around it, which I'm not going to get into now, but there's a typical rule of thumb of how many touch points you need to get someone to know who you are, because subconsciously we see so many ads or different businesses a day, and yeah, you need it.
For sure. All right. So the answer to that question is none. We would grow and we would add on more services because we need 1 million touch points.
I want Joey to keep on getting more grays. That's what I want. I want him to sell more and more.
100% love it. All right, boys. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Before they go, they got to give us a question for the next guest.
And if you ever need someone to look at your numbers, Latitude account. Conversations with them. It's not a paid ad.
Love to
it.
All right.
And if you ever want someone to say ADIB Super, call Joey.
I'll do that as well.
One of my favorite lines. All right, boys. What's your question for the next? What's your question for the next guys? Girls.
Does it anything finance?
Whatever you want. What's something you want to know? Well, you can pick. You can do the 2v1 thing if you want to discuss.
When is the right time to take dividends? When is the right time to take business dividends?
Oh, that's a good question. We'll lock that in the bank, and for you to find the answer, you have to watch the next one.
That's it. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, guys.
So much,
Thanks
guys,
for
for having us.